Greetings, gentle readers, and welcome once again to the vast and ominous Comic Book Vault. I'm Captain Logan. Today we're going to add some more new additions to the Vault from comics that came out just this last week. Sorry, this is coming out a little bit late. It's a Sunday, and these are comics from Wednesday, but here we go. Let's jump into it. I want to start off with Ghostbusters number 10 from IDW. I got several issues today, so I'm going to go through as quickly as humanly possible. This is part of the Haunted America arc, a four-part story that is not so much a story as individual stories all coming together to be kind of this vignette piece about the Ghostbusters going on a road trip, which is really fun. I really like that this is not just a big arc as far as a big through-line story, but individual stories that all comprise this road trip. I think it's a really fun idea, and I've been looking forward to it for a while now, and it started in issue 9 when they went to Detroit, which I thought was fantastic. I thought that was a really fun story, and this one's fun too, although personally I don't like it as well as the Detroit story. Vince and I talked about this, and I know he likes it more, a little bit more than I do, but one of the things I really like about this is just seeing the big Ghostbusters motorhome that they have to drive around in to house all their equipment in. And there's a lot of talk in the first part of this about how they wanted to go on an airplane, but they can't because that's because they have too much equipment to take around with them, and it costs too much and all of that. And I really like kind of the amusing politics that go into this, where the city is allowing them to go off and do this for a number of reasons that Walter Peck gets into in the issue before this, and it's kind of fun to see how they have to deal with all the politics of that. Here they go to New Orleans, and while they're in New Orleans, they have to deal with and this is really interesting for Ghostbusters, an undead lady who's not a full-fledged ghost and who is actually kind of a good guy, whose daughter is also dead. And she is a full-fledged ghost, and she's going through this ritual trying to bring back a whole bunch of zombies. And so so this is a really good story for Egon, who is having to deal with this undead lady who's not actually a full-fledged ghost, and he finds that absolutely fascinating. And they have this really interesting exchange where she's telling him that he's not fully alive either, because living is more than breathing, she says, and he says, no, it's not. And what she means is that he's like a ghost too, because he doesn't really live life so much as study it. And anyway, I thought that was all really kind of cool. So anyway, this is a pretty good issue. Like I said, I think I like 9 a little bit more, but definitely good. And there is a really funny Winston moment at the end that is worth the entire issue. Next up is Venom number 19. So we've got Cullen Bunn writing alongside Remender right now. Pretty soon, Bunn's going to take this over completely, and we still have just fantastic Venom stuff. I have no complaints. Right now, what's going on in Venom is at the end of last issue, Flash Thompson finally had to tell Betty that he is Venom, and he and she are dealing with the repercussions of that in this issue. And in fact, she's having to ride around with him because she's in danger, as well as pretty much everybody Flash Thompson knows. And the stakes are super high. There's a lot more Jack-o'-lantern back in this, and he's got a team, the Savage Six, and they're all ganging up on Venom and trying to hurt him in various ways. And it's great but depressing, like this book very often is. There is this wonderful moment, and I won't tell you how exactly this goes down, but all I'll say is there's this wonderful moment where the Jack-o'-lantern comes up with a situation that is a lot like there's a lot like the Gwen Stacy thing in Spider-Man, and he remembers that, and he wants to set up Flash Thompson to have to deal with something similar, and it's quite the moment. Anyway, this book is still absolutely fantastic, and I don't have really much else to say about it. Read Venom; it's always good. And next is Star Trek Doctor Who, the crossover from IDW, the first issue. This came out a few weeks ago, and I wasn't able to get my hands on it because they didn't print nearly enough of these things. And I've heard a lot of different reasons for why exactly this is. I don't know if this is just a Diamond thing, or IDW didn't print enough, or exactly completely what the problem is, but I have heard that that for whatever reason, however this works, it actually has apparently something to do with the problems that IDW had with getting the licensing from Paramount and from the BBC to put these two together, and that for whatever reason even affected printing. I don't know if that's true, but this is a rumor I've heard running around. So anyway, they put out a second printing because they didn't get enough out the first week, and I finally got my hands on this. I gotta tell you, I'm having to let this art grow on me a little bit. I really like Woodward's art usually, and when I interviewed him, he said that he had these massive, crazy deadlines where he had to, in order to get everything met by deadline, he said he had to draw a page a day, and these are fully painted. This is fully painted artwork. So he said that it took him 20 hours a day, and in fact, this is 8 issues, so I'm sure he's still working on it. I bet it's not even completely done yet, but who knows? But anyway, so he said he was having to work pretty much 20 hours a day, pretty much around the clock to get this done. So I think that he ultimately, in order to get it to meet his deadlines, had to cut a few corners here and there. And again, that's nothing against him as an artist. I think that this is absolutely fantastic looking, for the most part, but then there are places where you look in the background and characters aren't completely filled in, and some pages look a lot more detailed than other pages. I just wish he had gotten more time to work on this, because he's a great artist. I really like his work, but I think that he didn't have time to do maybe what he really wanted to with this. And so anyway, story-wise, we don't get a whole lot of Star Trek in the first issue. It opens with the Borg and the Cybermen attacking Delta Vega, or not Delta Vega, the Deltans on Delta 4, or whatever their planet is. And I thought that was kind of a neat thing for Trek fans, because we don't see the Deltans very often. So I thought that was kind of neat. And this thing grabbed me right away by having it be the Cybermen who say resistance is futile, as opposed to the Borg. And that was really fun. And then it goes into Doctor Who story, and Doctor Who and his companion, and I haven't been keeping up with current Doctor Who, so I don't know, well, I've watched up to, like, season 4, I think, but I haven't gotten to the Matt Smith Doctor yet, and so I don't know him or his companion very well at all, because I haven't been keeping up with current, so anyway, I just want to mention that while I'm talking about this. But anyway, so he and his companion are in ancient Egypt, is where they're at the beginning of this, dealing with some stuff there, and then they have to go find their police box like they often do, and then they get in the TARDIS, and they go to what they think is the is it early 1900s? I forget, but it's San Francisco, which I thought was a nice touch, and then I won't spoil the ending, but they realize that they're not quite where they think they are, and they're of course in the Star Trek universe, and they have to figure out where exactly they actually are. But anyway, I don't know. I'm liking this better than some reviews I've read. A lot of people are complaining about the art and about how it's some people are calling it lazy. It's not lazy. He didn't get the time that he should have had to write this, and I think it's because Paramount and BBC, they had such a hard time getting the rights to this thing that they gave them these like really crazy deadlines where they finally allowed them to do it, but they had to do it within this really short window. And I don't know exactly why that is and how all that kind of stuff works with the business end of it. But anyway, I don't know. I'm going to chalk any problems with the artwork up to that. But the more I look at it, the more I like it. And it is pretty. It's fully painted. It's just it could be more detailed if they'd allowed him more time to work on it. Anyway, next up is Supergirl number 10. I'm still really liking the series, although maybe not quite as much this arc that just wrapped up as the first arc where Supergirl first comes to Earth. Here she's dealing with the Black Banshee, who is the Silver Banshee's father. And in this, Silver Banshee, at least so far, is not a bad guy. She and Kara are actually becoming friends, and they have to deal with her evil father, who puts them in kind of this dream world state by sucking him into himself, and she has to find Silver Banshee, who has an actual name in this, and I can't remember what it is, but whatever her real first name is. But anyway, so she has to help her. Kara has to help Silver Banshee and her brother get out, and her brother apparently has been here for so many years that he doesn't even know that his sister has grown up. And Kara ends up with this really weird looking, kind of silly looking battle suit in this that I didn't really love, but in this dream world thing, it seems like every time somebody gets sucked into a dream world, they have to have some other kind of like kooky battle armory costume. Especially in DC, I don't know why that is. But anyway, and then so you know she helps them escape, and that's pretty much the book. So yeah, I'm still gonna read this. I still really like this book, and I still really like Kara in this, and I still love her new costume. But anyway. I guess I'll see how this continues to go. Like I said, I didn't like this as much as the first arc, but I did like it enough to keep on it. Next up is... What do I want to talk about next? Batman Beyond Unlimited number 5. This book is frustrating me, and it's not because the stories are bad, it's because the stories aren't published in separate books. I don't know if I've had a chance to talk too much about this yet. When this first started, when I read the first couple issues, I said a lot that on Late Night and things that I loved that you got so much story for $3.99, that it felt like a thicker book because you got two stories, and they weren't a full 22 pages each, but they were longer than a single issue, and it was still only $3.99. I thought that was great. Then they added Superman Beyond to this, which I think should have been its own book. And I'm going to go on record to say that I actually really like what J.T. Kroll is doing with Superman Beyond. I think it's pretty good. But I don't like that I'm having to read 3 different books, or what should be 3 different books, inside one book just because they were digital first. So the way they do this is they publish these digital first stories first, and before they put them in this. And I think actually you get quite ahead if you read this digital before these come out. I think Batman Beyond number 8. I'm using air quotes because they're published differently online than they are here. Because again, they're in like 8 to 10 page stories online, and then they put them here. But when you read them online, you don't get all of this. You just get you just get Batman Beyond, or you get Justice League Beyond, or you get Superman Beyond. And so I think that they're already like 2 or 3 chapters ahead online than where we are right here. So anyway, I'm having a difficult time keeping up with all of it, is my problem, reading it month to month like this, because I'm used to 22 page stories, and that sometimes even is hard enough to keep up with when you're reading like 20 books a month like I do. But with this, it's even tougher because they're all in the same book. You only get a few pages at once, and they just don't get as far as they ought to per issue. So anyway, I'm finding it frustrating. I'm still reading it because individually they're good, but there's a part of me that almost wants to like save these away for a while and then read them all at once, because I really think they'll read better that way. I mean, not all at once, but read all the Batman Beyond things at once, and then Justice League Beyond at once. But of the 3, I'm still loving Batman Beyond the most. I love what Adam Beechin is doing, and as always, he's fantastic, and of course, Norm Brayfogel's art is amazing, like always. I can't tell you too much about this story, about the Batman Beyond story in this, because if I say anything about it, it's going to ruin it, and I really think that I can't believe it's kind of funny that I'm saying this because I just complained about the 3-story thing, but I almost think that is worth this issue alone, and I really think people should pick it up and take a look at it because I think it's really neat. All I'll say is it deals with the man who killed Terry McGinnis's father and what he's doing now, and it's pretty cool. And it has some things to do with old Batman history. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. Then the Justice League Beyond story, they're doing these origins of characters from Justice League Beyond, which I just can't get excited about. I don't really care that much. That's just me. But whatever. Anyway, it's about the Hawkman character, and that's how much I care about Justice League Beyond. I don't even remember what this guy's name is. Warhawk. And about his... apparently his parents are... If I'm looking at this right, apparently his parents are Hawkgirl and the John Stewart Green Lantern. And it gives us their backstory and how they got together and how they had Warhawk. And then in the back we have J.T. Kroll's Superman Beyond. And Superman is dealing still with being kind of irrelevant now because there are all these soldiers on the police force that have battle suits that have most of his power set, and so it's like there's a lot of Supermen running around now. and so he's having to deal with the fact that he doesn't feel real relevant anymore, but he still wants to work, and so he's helping them, and they're letting him help them, but it feels kind of strange to him because he used to be the protector of Metropolis, and now he's doing it more for him than he is for the city, and I like that. That's a good angle. And then there's this new villain who seems to maybe be a Luthor, and so he's having to figure out how that all happened, and if Lex Luthor really had an heir he didn't tell anyone about, and that sort of thing. So anyway, that's Batman Beyond this week. Pretty solid stuff. Still not loving the format, but that's nobody's fault but DC's. And next, I want to talk about AVX Round 6. Avengers vs. X-Men. Man, I love this event. I cannot say enough good things about this event. This does everything I think a good event should do. It's fun. It's giantly huge, action-packed. It feels relevant, but not obnoxiously relevant. Not like what Marvel usually does with events like Fear Itself, where this is going to shape the foundation of the Marvel Universe, and then a couple months later, pretty much everything's back to complete status quo. This feels like an event where it doesn't really matter if status quo is completely returned by the end of this, because it feels like a very big, giant piece, but it's kind of but sort of its own sort of standalone piece. Although I could be wrong about that, considering what's going on right now, because it's going to be interesting to see what the repercussions are with what Scott's doing. So at the end of the last issue, 5 of the X-Men became the Phoenix 5, because the Phoenix came down and was supposed to take over Hope. That's what this whole thing has been about, is Hope knows that she's supposed to be united with the Phoenix, and she's been waiting for this, and the Avengers don't want this to happen, and so there's been this big power struggle through this whole thing between the X-Men and the Avengers. The Avengers wanting to lock Hope up, and the X-Men wanting to protect her, and then some people want her killed, and some people don't, or some people want her killed, like Wolverine, and things like that. And so that's what the whole power struggle's been. And then at the end of last issue, the Phoenix finally shows up. And I really like that halfway through this, the Phoenix shows up. I feel like this thing has had great pacing. A lot happens in every issue. You never feel slighted. You don't feel like this is stretched. This really feels like a story that's going to take 12 issues to tell, and I love that about it. So the Phoenix shows up, and Hope rejects it, and so it takes over 5 of the X-Men, including Scott Summers, and including Namor, and some others, and so they're trying to fix the world and try to turn it into a utopia, and it seems to be working. And of course, the Avengers don't like this because they feel like the Phoenix 5 don't have any kind of accountability, because if they were to, it's the age-old problem with too much power. Okay, maybe they're making the whole world awesome right now, but what if they change their minds and decide instead of being benevolent, they're gonna start doing really terrible things. So I don't want to give away the ending, of course, but it looks like some very, very scary things could be happening with the Phoenix 5, and I just love this. This has been solid every single issue. The writing and artist teams keep changing, but but in a good way. It feels like this was extremely well planned out and well thought out, and this time it's Coppell, who I think does amazing work, and we get some writing from Jonathan Hickman this time. Aaron's been working on this, Hickman's been working on this, I think maybe Bendis worked on this some, and it has felt extremely consistent, this regardless of the teams constantly changing, and it feels like it's trying to be this big epic piece, and part of the way it's doing that is by having all of Marvel's biggest stars working on it too, and I think that it's a great plan, it's a great book. If you haven't been taking a look at it, please do. I think it's wonderful. And the last thing I want to talk about this week is Daredevil number 14. This is another book that's tough to talk about without giving away everything that's cool about it. I feel like I'm having a hard time with this week, where I'm just like, this book's great, read it. This one is no exception. Daredevil, again, is always good. The stakes are so high in this issue for Daredevil because they're really personal stakes, and they're really personal physical stakes. The problem that Daredevil has to deal with this is his own physical limitations, being a blind man, and his power set being what it is. I don't want to tell you exactly what that means, but that's what he's dealing with, and he gets taken to Latveria because Dr. Doom thinks that he owes him the Omega Drive for some reason, and there's still all this fallout going on from the Omega Drive, despite the fact that Matt Murdock doesn't even have it right now. So he's having to deal with the problem of people knowing he's Daredevil, like always, even though Matt Murdock keeps swearing up and down that he's not, and because some people still know that he's Daredevil, they also know, of course, that he's blind, and that becomes a big problem. And one of the things that's really interesting about this, and I will go ahead and mention this, is that we don't really go to Latveria and deal with Latveria very often. And here, it's kind of Daredevil versus the nation of Latveria. Dr. Doom's face is on the cover, and Dr. Doom doesn't actually appear in this issue, and I think that's really cool. And it's great. And I can't wait to see where this goes, because this is the best cliffhanger ending I read this week. Anyway, that's it for new acquisitions this week. Thanks as always for watching the Comic Vault, and remember that the Comic Vault is a vast and wondrous wonderland of comic books that you can both buy things from and donate things to. If you want to donate anything to the Comic Book Vault, you can send us comic books at Geekvolution, P.O. Box 14183, Lenexa, Kansas 66285. You can also buy things from the Comic Vault. If you want to find out what I've got on eBay right now selling out of the Comic Vault, you can go to wearegeeksnotnerds.com, click on the Comic Vault, and that will give you a list of things that I've got up for sale right now on eBay, and you can click on them and bid right there. Thanks as always for watching. I'm Captain Logan, and happy reading. Hey Vince, you know what I think? What? I think our subscribers should join the Geeks United Club.
They should. You know why? Because they get lots of cool stuff when they join.
Like my new book, The Girl with 7 First Names. It's a funny science fiction novel. I think you'll really like it. You get it signed and personalized by me.
You also get something not by Captain Logan. A random selection from the Comic Vault.
And a DVD with a custom Geeks Not Nerds just from us to you, and up to 2 hours of your favorite Geekvolution videos.
You also get a letter from Doomsfist proclaiming the doom of all of us.
And you get this great membership card where you get to pick if you want to be a Logan tier or a Doomsayer. What else do they get, Vince?
They get all of that in a handy manila envelope in which we ship all of your stuff.
Well, that's true, but that's not what I was going to talk about. They also get to pick a movie for me to do in the Rewind style sometime in the next several months.
Wow, that's a lot of great stuff.
Isn't
they
it?
get all of that for exactly $20.
Exactly $20. That includes shipping. And they also get access to new video content just for people in the club.
That sounds like a lot of cool stuff, and it's only $7 more than just buying his novel.
That's absolutely true, and it's really great because getting things in the mail is
really cool.
It's fun.
Get in the mail.